I didn't want to move here.
We couldn't afford to live in the old house anymore. Plus, the new story I'm writing is here.
Is the story a good one this time?
I'm gonna write the best book that anybody's ever read. I got a really good feeling about this.
You gotta be kidding me. Family hanging out. Barbecue 79. That's the family who lived here.
You think these are serial murders?
I don't know. First one I found dates back to the 60s.
The only link between all these cases is the symbol.
The symbol is associated with a pagan deity named Bagul. He consumes the souls of human children.
I have never been onto something this big before.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for Scott Derrickson's 2012 horror film, Sinister. I'm Ashley Hobley, the Explosion Network's resident scaredy cat. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I'm going to be here and talking about a movie you didn't want to watch. Love that for us.
Yeah. So, of course, we're talking about this film. This is actually a bit different to all the other one of these spoilercasts we've done because we're doing this in the lead up to the release of his next film, The Black Phone, a movie that you've already watched.
Yeah. And yeah, why even lie? I've watched Black Phone prior to even watching Sinister.
Yeah, we're going to check out the last episode of What Do You Want to Watch where Dylan talked about it. But yes, we're going to talk about his earlier works, his first collaboration with Robert Cargill, Sinister. So please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about the plot themes at any of the film. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's jump to a discussion of Sinister, directed by Scott Derrickson, written by Robert Cargill and Scott Derrickson, starring Ethan Hawke, Juliet, Rylance, Fred Thompson, James Ransone, Clare Foley, and Michael D'Addario. Ellison, a crime writer, moves his family to a house that once witnessed gruesome murders. Soon, when his research leads him to some eerie footage, things take a dark and harrowing turn. Dylan, when did you first watch Sinister?
Probably when it came out, I think.
Yeah, in cinemas?
No. I don't believe it was at cinemas. I think I just watched it when it came out on VOD.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Sinister?
Very good. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's very scary. I remember it being obviously it was a lot scarier the first time I watched it than on the rewatch, but still very creepy. I think it's got a lot of elements that get under most people's skin in it. I think there's the bit of trivia where apparently it was inspired by watching The Ring and stuff, and I think you can
apparently Robert Cargill had a nightmare after watching The Ring.
Yeah.
And that inspired this movie.
I think you can see it because it's The Ring's obviously about someone who you watch the tape and you die in 7 days or whatever it is, and then the girl crawls out and kills you. And this is a similar sort of thing where once you sort of watch the tapes and
the Super 8 films,
Super 8 films, and you become part of it. There's a lot of elements in this. So you've got a combination of snuff horror film stuff, which is you've got the Super 8 stuff, which is snuff films. Not hardcore snuff films like you would see in some other stuff, but that's the obvious inspiration there. There's nothing super gory or stuff, but it's still snuffy. And then you've got the supernatural sort of, this is coming out around the same time as Insidious stuff, and you've got the creepy character that's constantly looming and walking around the house, people in the background, all this sort of stuff that was sort of prime Blumhouse for this period of time here. But I think at the heart of it, I really think it's I like the way all the pieces start coming together. I like the way the mystery starts being unraveled. I think Ethan Hawke's really good. I think it always helps to have a quality actor in these horror movies and sort of really grounds them in it makes them not just be a B grade horror movie. You get a step. You have a good performance by a lead actor someone like Ethan Hawke, and you've got and what the fuck's her name plays the Juliet Rylance, who plays his
wife
as well. She's obviously really good in this as well. And the kids are fine. The kids are whatever. But I think obviously
child
Ethan
actors,
Hawke's, and it's a movie that mostly, 99% of it's like just actually within a house. Like it never really leaves the house, which is the other thing. But no, I think it's really creepy. Hits on a lot of different elements. I think at one stage it was actually voted, it like held some like the scariest movie like voted list somewhere.
In a 2020 study, they took the 50 highest rating horror films, got people to watch them, and then kept track of their heart rates, and Sinister was the one that had like the highest.
There you go.
So
this
by
is
that metric,
not something
the scariest movie of all time.
Not something I wanted to bring up prior to getting you to watch it though. So
no. In fact, I found out later. So thanks, Dylan. As someone who does not like horror movies, this is fine. I can tell all the good elements. Obviously, Ethan Hawke gives a great performance. It definitely builds the tension throughout it. I think the soundtrack is like probably an underrated element.
It's really fucking creepy.
It's fucking creepy. It's like,
and then when the credit music's like I remember the credits start rolling. I had my headphones on this rewatch, and the music's still just playing, like that creepy music playing credits. I was like, "Ugh, get away!" Like,
no, thank you.
Yeah,
this is over. I'm done.
Yeah.
I like how the mystery of it all kind of unravels. This whole pagan god being behind everything, even though you're set up to think it could be just a random serial killer. But yeah, it did be
or cult. It's a cult.
An occult.
It is at first. Yeah.
Well, no, at the start you think it's introduced as a murder, just a general murder. And then, it slowly becomes bigger and bigger and leans more down the supernatural route. I think the whole idea, there's like some silly like stuff at the start of the film, she's like, hey, what's the number one rule? Lock the door. That office door's never locked. That is, the door's never closed. Full stop. There's a lot of jump scares or like scary imagery, like even just, of course, his kid has night terrors. Like, he just comes out of boxes and shit.
I was about to say that first time he comes out of box and you don't know that's actually the kid. It's like such a
yeah.
Like, oh shit! Oh, wait, it's the kid.
No, yeah, yeah. There's a little bit of humor that kind of stops some of the tension with Officer so and so, especially when he's talking in the roof and he's like, oh. Sounds like you've got like a squirrel problem. I saw a snake up there. No, snakes don't have legs, so they make the same noise.
They don't make noise when they walk, yeah. Unless they got shoes on, yeah.
Walk around, so yeah. Yeah, very creepy, just across the board, start to finish, there's also going to be a level of tension between Ethan Hawke and his wife because of, like, it's set up pretty quickly, They're living in the house, the murder's happened. And he gets off of lying to her by technicality. Of her asking, are we a couple of houses down from the murder house?
Yeah.
No.
Like,
no.
Not actually a lie. She didn't ask if it was the murder house.
Hey.
Which is fucked up. Like, as soon as
because why would anybody ask that?
Yeah. As soon as you realize that at the start of the movie, like, because you can't tell from the outside, but when he walks in and they show they show him looking at the tree, and you've already seen the tree at the start of the movie where the people are hanging from it. Yet that's like the reveal, and straight away it's like, well, that's fucked up. Why do you move into the house? Like,
yeah, it's pretty. I think it's interesting that this might be one of the earlier, like, this film came out before, like, the true crime craze of the last few years.
Yes, I mean. 2012, 13 would probably...
Because Serial would probably have been the thing that, like, blew up the trial. Like,
yeah, I think that was around the same year. Or, like... It's around this time, but this would have been filmed prior. Like, this wasn't based off the
craze.
I think
that was what was best for the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we feel about Mr. Boogle?
Creepy villain. I think there's always something. I love a good horror movie like those moments where, you know, he's pausing and he's like, oh fuck, he's in the background here. I didn't even realize he was in, and he does like, you know, he constantly like keeps finding him in all the videos, like in different parts, and you never realized he was actually there the first time. Like at the tree hanging, he's in the bushes in the background, and you know, spots him in the mirror and all this sort of stuff. I think that's, those scenes are always like super creepy, and when horror movies do similar stuff like that, which is good. And he's the thing is, like, he's barely used, which is good. Like, he's not actually the one who does any
anything.
killing.
Yeah,
it's the kids that do all the killing, which is super creepy when that's revealed.
Like a Charles Manson type.
Yeah, he's just pulling the strings. You know, doesn't actually do any heavy lifting himself. But at the end, it's like, obviously when you finally see him, it's creepy when he, you know, pops up and takes all the kids off into his...
Oh, it's creepy when he turns his head in the photo.
Well, that too, yes.
That's like...
Yeah.
Ugh, unsettling. Nice cameo by Vincent D'Onofrio as the cult expert. Didn't expect him to be in this movie.
And he pops up in some crazy, really weird stuff sometimes. D'Onofrio.
Yeah. And then, of course, this was a little bit... I guess it isn't that gruesome, this movie. It definitely cuts away from like all of the... There's very little blood.
That's what I mean. Like, it's a scary movie, but it doesn't actually use blood and gore to really sell.
It does have some significant jump scares, like the footage of the lawnmower murder. Didn't see that coming.
But still, it's not like ultra gory. You don't see.
No, you don't see any blood, but
no.
It's just so out of nowhere. It's like, actually,
it's
the most blood is technically like in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, but even then, it's like at the end, you see her, like the daughter come in, you know, say all the staff, pick up she has the axe or whatever she has, I can't remember now, and then it like cuts away, but it's like they don't actually show it because they don't need to, because when they cut back to her like after and they show that drawing she's made where their like bodies are split into 3 bits, that's all you really need. You're like, oh, like she's chopped them up. You don't need to see. You know what's happened. Yeah.
You know what's up, and there's bloods on the wall, and she's doing. Yeah. Is there any significant drawings in the wall? I think I saw like a. Yeah,
so she's drawn like the symbol that appears like throughout all the
occult,
tapes. Yeah, like the symbol. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else, but that's the major thing that she draws. Yeah. But I can't remember what the tapes called it then, but that's also quite.
It's house painting, I think.
House painting, that's it. Yeah, house painting.
Yeah, so it's pretty messed up. It is very interesting that like these tapes just keep showing up in all these houses, and then I guess the curse doesn't start till you start watching them.
Yeah, well, that's the curse doesn't start till you. That's how So you
watching like The Ring. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So like The Ring, you got to watch them, but they don't show up in random houses. They just stay at the last house the thing happened. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So now they're at now they're at his house. Whoever moves into his house now will one day find them, watch them. Then they'll move to another house, and that's where they die.
Yeah,
they don't die in the house that that's the big reveal. They don't find. They get scared out of the house. They get scared out of the house, and then they die in a different house, and that's
yeah, pretty creepy stuff.
Twisted.
As someone who's watched a lot of horror movies, would you recommend people check out the sequel, Sinister 2?
No. It's bad. Nah, not Derrickson didn't direct it. It has none of the same. Oh, actually, no. I think it has a sheriff in it or something. I think they wrote it or wrote the story. I don't remember, but nothing the same. It's not even tapes. It's like I think it's like radio plays or radio. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So a good one and done in your opinion.
Good one and done. Nothing wrong with that.
All right. Anything you noticed in particular that on this rewatch about Scott Derrickson's directing or his story?
I really like the movie, but it's way too reliant on jump scares. Because they work the first time, because they get you, like, especially if you're like a really easily jump scared sort of person, like they're all going to get you. But like on the good horror movies on rewatches, like the reliance on jump scares doesn't work as much, because if you know they're coming, And I forgot some, so I was still like, whoa. But for the most part, I knew where they all were, so I was like, whatever. Whereas good horror movies that don't rely entirely on jump scares, they'll still like build up the tension, and that part works like every time in a good horror movie. So the reliance on jump scares is a one and done, sort of holds it back from rewatches.
Do you think that's something that factors into your review of a horror movie? Like whether it holds up on
jump scares? No, because it's not like I watch it twice. But if a horror movie is reliant on jump scares and jump scares only, I do view that as a negative. Jump scares are the easiest form of horror to fall back on. So it's not that I'm against jump scares. It's just if that's all your movie is just a bunch of jump scares, I do view that as a negative. Because the good horror movies is the ability to, obviously it's all about story in the first place. If the story's shit, then the story's shit. But like if you want to do a good horror movie like this sort of thing, even though this has a lot of jump scares, but like this type of horror movie, it is about building the tension and then having the good the good jump scare or the fake out. Like the last Scream movie has a really great scene that a lot of people talked about because it kept doing fake out for jump scares. And it was quite very good at, like, you know, like build up. And then you thought that was going to do like the stereotypical, like, oh, she opens the fridge. Or the guy goes to open the fridge. And then when he pulls it back, there will be someone there. Nah. He goes to open the cupboard. Oh, when he pulls it back. Nah. Like they kept like faking out, which was quite smart. But yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss from this film?
No, the only thing I'll say is like, obviously, I did watch this in the backwards order because I watched Black Phone early, but just watching... Well, of three things I've watched recently.
Prep movie.
Oh, it's nothing like Black Phone.
Nothing like Black Phone. No.
Nothing like Black
Phone. But they've got kids in both.
Yeah, no, nothing like Black Phone.
Okay.
Black Phone is. I don't actually remember if Black Phone has any jump scares in it. Black Phone might be the opposite of this. Black Phone is just like So which is good because it shows Derrickson has a
growth,
or at least range in directing ability. So,
yeah. Also, one interesting factor that I read about this film is apparently all the like missing kids or Mr. Boogie's kids, like they would have conversations on sets that asking each other how their parents died because they didn't know how each other's parents died in the movie. So having these morbid conversations behind the scenes, and they all got very upset because they were having a good time when they got upset that the film ended because they're having such a good time making it. So,
wow,
yeah, very creepy. Let us know what you thought of Sinister by going to explosion.com/Twitter or drop a Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show, or leave us 5 stars. Anyway, you can leave 5 stars. And if you want to reward me for watching this horror movie, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
What's the matter? What's happened?
Get the kids, pack the car. We have to leave here now.